Hi, I'm Kevin,
And I'm Amanda.
and we are serving up
All that jam.
All That Jam, Quick Hit. Molly Miller on Molly Miller Trio.
So the St. George album with your
Mhm.
trio was recorded before COVID?
Yeah, that one totally. And we delayed the release because of COVID. But yeah, that one was recorded like November, I want to say 2019. And then we put it out. Is that right? Yeah, I think that's right. And then we put it out.
2021 is what the
Yeah,
internet told me.
that's right. Yeah. So the internet's right because it took a while. Like both of these freaking records, like I recorded that one November 2019. That's right before the pandemic. Then I was gonna release it 2020 and ended up releasing it 2021 because of the pandemic and life. And then this record that's coming out, The Ballad of Hotspur, we recorded it April 2022, and it's coming out May 2024. It's like, and there's reasons, but it's just like this next record, whatever it's gonna be, I'm not dragging my feet. I'm like, I'm recording it. I'm gonna have a damn plan and put it out there. Yeah.
Is there a particular process that you have found over time really works for you in the studio when you're recording?
Yeah, I mean, it varies of whether I'm doing my record or someone else's record. With the trio, we like to play the music a lot because while there is a lot of improvisation in it, there's a lot of thought put into subtleties about how to tell a story, how the arrangement's going to go, what like how to make it so we breathe together. So we'll rehearse a bit, but also play a lot of gigs leading up to a session, just to get it in our bones a bit. And then the last two records, we did 2 days in the studio and like not even that long a days. I feel like both days it'll be like 11 to 6 or something. And we record like 12, 13 songs and mostly live. Like we're so well rehearsed at that point. Like we're not trying to do anything new. We're trying to capture what we do live, and hopefully on a good day.
So how do you approach blending all the different styles that you do use and being cognitive of their traditions?
You know, I think it's such a natural thing that it's for me. The more I think I would overthink it if I start thinking in that way. Because I spent a lot of time studying all these genres, and the goal is not to be like that's a jazz lick, that's a country lick, that's a funk groove. And what I hope that it comes through is like this is just my voice and this is the voice of the trio because all three of us come from different places. Like Jay, we're going to do a tour this May, and then he goes out with Alison Krauss and Robert Plant. And like Jet, like they both played with so many different people that it's like, yeah, I don't think I could approach it that way, because I've spent so much time like I think as we are, what is a human being? Like, how do you become you? You spend time, you pick up things from one person and another person. You like that, you don't like that. Some things stick, and then like that's who you are. And that is how I feel about the music. I've transcribed rock and roll and country and bebop and cool jazz and whatever, and like eventually the things that feel right stay with me.
So it's just internalizing it, huh?
Yeah.
Transcending it by internalization.
Yes, that's the goal. Being
I like
transcendent.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and over time too, like we talked with a lot of people who, have been in the industry for a long time, for decades, and the one thing that we tend to hear from them is the trust that they have in themselves. And often we're talking about live music, so
Yeah.
on stage, the jamming, the improv, those moments, not having to maybe play as hard or as fast, like do as much. They can embrace the time between the notes because
Mm.
they're more comfortable with what they do. Have you felt any kind of progression? And I'm sure teaching too. I mean, you really experience a lot through that.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think the goal is to be as present as possible and to quiet the voices. And I think that's also why me and so many people are drawn to live performance is that it's such a deep reflection of the moment. And the more present you are and the more true to yourself, and you're not thinking about, oh, I should play this lick that's impressive. Oh, I wonder, do I look bad right now? Like the more you can quiet that and completely listen is like flow, like that's the flow state every show I'm looking for. And I feel like I've gotten better at getting there as the more, just I think the older I get, the more comfortable I get, and the more I don't give a damn what other people think. I think like at first, like I go to jazz school and I'm like, oh, I should sound like Wes Montgomery, or oh, like I love Hendrix, I need to sound like Hendrix, like whatever. Like you think you're supposed to sound like someone else, or what if this like person who's like really cool and way better than me doesn't like me? And it's kind of like, I don't know, like I played a gig the other night that like I think it would have used to like freak me out. It was like a quote unquote like jazz festival in LA. And like all these heavy hitters were there. And an old version of Molly would be very scared. But a new version of Molly is kind of like, I don't give a damn. I'm here to play music and be present with these people on stage because that's all I got, And the more true I am to that and the more I lean in, the more it is true. Like this space, the I can interact with the musicians around me and be present. And yeah, because the music is really sacred. And so yeah, keeping my head out of the game.
That's
Totally.
pretty cool. Very
Yeah.
nice. Can we get into dig into the live a little bit and
Yeah.
how you approach improvisation and spontaneity in your music?
Yes. I mean, like the goal is just to like be at a different place. Like the more I can, it's a conversation. And I feel like I've studied a lot of improvisation because I just do it a ton. I'll do it alone in my bedroom all the time. And I've been doing improvised music really since I was like 10, something like that. I started soloing. Um, and it is a craft that I think the more you do, the sharper your tools are for it. Um, and mm, there's some balance because I did a couple gigs recently that were completely improvised. And it's like that can be like work both ways. And some moments were really beautiful. And some moments I'm like, oh, how do I find the space? And like normally just stepping back is how you find the space. In my trio music, it's like listening. I think there's a couple things that come to mind. One is listening. And if you're listening, if you're fortunate, you're playing, most musicians have something to say. So take a second to listen to what your fellow musicians have. Because sometimes we feel like we have to like push the ball up a hill by ourselves, but we got a team to do it with us. So like sometimes I feel like, especially when it's a solo, you're like, oh my God, I have to just shred and show everyone my licks. But it's actually way more powerful if you get support in that and you guys do it together. So that's part of it. But then also I think about like a character. I like tap into a character that's like has a little sass or has a little sweetness or sultry or like, and it's not like I'm consciously being like, this is a character that's wearing a red dress and is, whatever, but it's just like an attitude, a character, a story, a vibe that you're trying to push and like just tap into whatever that is, because I think that's how you can create one coherent story versus a sporadic thing that's not connected.
That's so cool because I've heard it the another way, which is play to a specific person in your mind, in the audience, play to that
Ah.
person. But I really like the idea of making it more personal to you. That totally resonates.
Mm.
And then you can really kind of think about where you are and the audience and what you're doing and probably switch it up a little bit for that. Yeah, that seems like that would be really helpful for the creativity part of it too.
Yeah. And I practice solos a lot, like while if I'm like prepping for a record and I know I have these whatever 8 solos I'm going to do, like I practice them and I'll just like play them to a metronome, record, listen back, and like it's not about, oh Molly you suck. It's like, oh, like I like that thing you're doing. Oh, that kind of that's an interesting rhythm to do on this song, or oh, that's a nice melody. Okay. And it's not like I'll always go to it, but I kind of get like a Rolodex of ideas that I can do. It's just like vocabulary, It's like I can't say a word I've never said, and the more you use the word, the better you can use it. With more power. Yeah.
In your tool belt, what you have in your
Mm-hmm.
tool belt there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when you're playing with the Molly Miller trio, do you change set list up night to night, or do you
Yes.
guys?
Sorry, it's like it's funny that you say it because like Jen, the bassist, is always like, Molly, can you give me a set list? And I'm kind of like, can we just wing it? We have like I don't know, like 70 songs. Can I just call them at random and see how I feel? But she's been saying to me, she's like, we have a bunch of shows coming up in May. Like we have like a whole tour, on the East Coast and West Coast. She's like, okay, Molly, get a set list that we're gonna work from. And like, while I pretty much know it, sometimes it's like I feel like playing a different song. And yeah, we do. But so there is a working set list, and there's certain songs that we like to start with or end with or that flow well together. So I will do that, but I don't always like playing the same set list every night. There's something, I don't know. I like changing it up, not drastically, but maybe you're like, okay, warming up with this song, set the tone, do this second song, do whatever I want in the middle, mix it up, and then end with, there's like a handful of songs we like to end a set with too. So I kind of like the looseness of like having a plan that's malleable.
The bass player for Humphreys McGee told us that there's an unwritten rule for jam bands that you don't repeat songs night to night.
Oh, yeah. I mean, things can get old. Like, I don't like to overplay a song for sure. Like, I have a weekly gig, and I like if we've been playing gigs that are more like we're playing our show tunes. The songs that we are playing each week. Like, I intentionally on this kind of like background music gig, just like I'm like, okay, let's not do any of those. Like, let's just do some songs that we haven't played in like 6 months. I try to do that to keep it fresh.
Do you have songs that you feel like you have to play? Like, do you have quote unquote hits that are the Molly Miller Trio songs that people come for?
I mean, yes, but yes, there's songs, and whether it's like for them or just because it's become like these are the 15 songs that we know we're probably gonna play, and then there's like if we're doing each like an hour sets for us is like 15 songs probably. So then it gets really hard if you only have 1 hour set because then it's like, well, I guess we can't put any other like less common songs that we don't play every show at. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing. I mean, we always kind of talk about that with a lot of bands who it's a struggle in a way because you really are kind of locked in. And I don't know if people feel more pressure to choose the things that they really think are going to work for that night in the time that they have. You know?
I know. Like it's a balance of trying to keep things fresh and like there is a certain level of flow you get with knowing how a song works and how it flows into the next song and knowing that if you start with this it kind of sets you in the right place or ending with it feels like a nice bang or something, so there it's nice to find some sort of flow, but I always do try to like get some new songs in the mix to keep it fresh for us. It's like also I feel like if you're a little on your toes about like one or two songs, it's kind of nice. You're not just like old news, be a little scared, I think is good.
So do you feel like we'll wrap this up in a minute, but let me ask you about the Molly Miller Trio. Do you feel like there's a progression to your songwriting across the albums that you put out?
For sure. I mean, the first one was covers. The second record, was like I feel like that was like me stating a voice. And now this is for sure a progression. That a little bit of the vision behind it was like a western. So there's definitely some like Morricone sort of good, bad, the ugly vibes on there as well. And like we actually are working on some new tunes for a new record that hopefully we'll record like next year. And they're an evolution too. Like I think we evolve as people, and there's no way for that not to come out in our songwriting as well. So yeah, and I hope it also like I like to think, I play guitar all day. I like to think I've gotten better at the guitar too, and like express myself more coherently. So I hear it, and I hope you guys do.
So what releases do you have coming up? I know you said Molly Miller Trio. Are you going to be appearing on anything else coming up?
Oh, other records? Now I have to think. Like, what else? I don't even. I have to think.
Well, I saw in 2022 you did a mess of stuff with
Yes,
a bunch of other people you had come out.
Yeah, like, and that's the thing is sometimes things are so last minute. I honestly have to think if I've played on others. Yeah, there's a big session thing I'm waiting for it to come out, but I'm gonna wait till details are out about that. Yeah, there's two things I'm waiting that I think I'll be a part of that I've recorded that should come out this year. But also, like, I did a bunch of stuff with Pamplemousse last minute. Sin Bandera and Noel Chardris, who's in Sin Bandera, I played with him last minute. So there are like a lot of like last minute things, and I don't know if it's last minute. You know, you get called for a session a couple weeks ahead. Jason's record I played on, but I don't think he's putting out a record this year. So nothing else with him this year that I know of. I honestly can't think of anything besides these two things that I can't really talk about right now.
There you go. So do you have dates or any cities you want to mention for the Molly Miller Trio tour?
Oh, you better believe it. Yeah, so I have a whole West Coast thing. We got 2 San Diego, LA, we got Santa Cruz, we got 2 in San Francisco. So California come out. That's like all the first 2 weeks of May. Then we head out to the East Coast, and I have like just south of Woodstock, Marlboro, New York, and Brooklyn, New York, Atlanta, Knoxville, 2 in Nashville. So that's like a run with just the trio with Jen, Jay, and myself. And then I'll be playing with Jason July, I think it's like July 15th through August 11th. I'll be opening for him. So I will be in his set as well as my own. So say what up.
And that's the trio also, or just you?
That's the trio, but not with Jen and Jay. It'll be Tamir Barzilai on drums and Andre De Santana on bass. So yeah, you can buy tickets for most of that stuff now. You can pre-order the vinyl and the CD now if you go to my website and all the things.
There'll be links in the show notes.
Woo-hoo. Yeah, so come out to that's just where my brain's been the last few weeks. Like booking shows, like today I was like trying to figure out my merch, like hats, t-shirts, what color, you know?
Hats, sweatshirts. People love sweatshirts, and they'll pay the big bucks. They'll pay the $50 for the sweatshirt.
I know. Maybe I should actually send them an email right now that actually, what do you guys think about a long sleeve, like a crew neck sweatshirt? That's like my favorite.
Different. Yeah. Yeah.
I know.
For sure.
They recommended a t-shirt, but after this conversation, I think I'll send a third follow-up email being like, well, what about this?
If you are enjoying All That Jam, please like and subscribe to our social media channels at All That Jam Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or visit our website, allthatjampod.com. Make sure to sign up for our email list and tune in every week for new episodes.
Also, look for full interviews on our YouTube channel. And remember, stay beautiful, but don't stay underground too long.